Yo, what's going on everyone? In today's video I wanted to rank all 35 evolutions. This is going all the way up to August. I did this video last season, so I just wanted to see how much has changed. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys have anything in a different spot, or maybe I'm underrating a card, overrating a card, just let me know. Let's get started. Coming in at last place for the second ranking video in a row is going to be the Evo Drill. This card is pretty much always in last place on pretty much everyone's evolution ranking list. It just doesn't get that much value compared to other evolutions. Sometimes you're better off just running the regular drill over the Evo Drill and using an evolution slot for a different card. It's just really bad in the meta. Maybe it could get a couple of buffs. Maybe the regular drill could get a couple nerfs and the Evo Drill could get some buffs, because the regular drill is doing really great in the meta right now, but the Evo Drill is struggling and it's not really used. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in the 35th spot. At 34 is going to be the Evo Bomber. Nothing really much to say about this card. It's just pretty much a free King Tower activation. It's not really good right now. It got nerfed a couple months ago. Hasn't been good since. You're better off using other evolution cards. It's just not really strong right now. Next up is the Evolution Wizard, and I really thought about putting this one maybe just a little bit higher because it did have quite a bit of use in CRL with that one Hog Rider Evo Wizard Monk deck, but it just really doesn't get as much value. I couldn't justify putting it above anything else on this list. So for the second month in a row, these last three spots are going to stay the same with Evo Drill, Evo Bomber, Evo Wizard. Next up at 32 is going to be the Evolution Barbs, and this actually moved down from last month. The reason for that is because there's a lot more Fireball, there's a lot more Poison because of the crazy Furnace meta we're in, and also Furnace itself is really good against Barbs, and especially the Evo Barbs. The Fire Spirits just splash onto all the Barbs, taking them out pretty easily. They don't get a whole lot of value, so for that reason I'm going to move it down a little bit from last month. At 31 is going to be the Evolution E-Drag, and the reason I moved this one spot up compared to last month is because there's just so much more beatdown going on in the meta. So I decided E-Drag gets a little bit more value. It's still not a great evolution, but it's a little bit better than it was last month. So for that reason, I'm going to have it just outside the top 30 at number 31. Here's how the list looks so far. Nothing's really changed. All these evolutions are pretty bad, and you shouldn't really use them over any other evolutions. Alright, now we're getting into the next tier, starting off with our top 30. At number 30, I have the Evolution Skeletons. The reason why I have these in the next tier is Evolution Skeletons can get good value if you play them right. They're good in the right hands. So compared to the bottom 5 evolutions, you can actually make the Evolution Skeletons work. At number 29 is the Evo Lumberjack. This card's still pretty easy to counter. It's still worse than all the evolutions above it in the list, so I'm gonna leave it at 29. Alright, and at number 28, this is where things start to get interesting because I do have the Evo Witch. And if you remember last month, I had the Evo Witch as the number 1 evolution in the game. Evo Witch in Graveyard was absolutely broken, but Supercell nerfed it, so Evo Witch could no longer heal from any skeletons that weren't her own, and this completely killed her viability. She dropped really far down in the list for me. Personally, she's just so much easier to deal with. I don't really have to plan too much when I see my opponent using an evolution witch. So I'm going to drop her all the way down to number 28. At 27, I have Evo Mega Knight. This card just doesn't get a whole lot of value for 7 Elixir. It's pretty easy to defend. It is better than the regular Mega Knight, but value-wise, you're just not getting as much value as the other evolutions ahead of it. At number 26, I have the Evolution Firecracker, and I personally play Hog EQ. That's what I got top 10k in the world with last season. And after the nerf to Firecracker, changing her recoil and her sight range, Firecracker has just been really bad. And for that reason, the Evolution Firecracker also hasn't been as good. And also with the Furnace meta, the Firecracker can't hit the Fire Spirits coming out of the Furnace, which really makes her really weak to Furnace. And she's pretty much been unplayable this season for me. I've completely stopped using Hog EQ. So for that reason, I'm dropping all the way down to the number 26 spot At 25, I have the Evo Musketeer. I personally think this is probably one of the highest skill evolution cards in the game. Good players can really get a lot of value out of this. It was really good last season in 2.9 Loon, but I don't really see it that much this season, so I'm going to have it at the 25th spot, but it's still such a good card if you use it correctly. This is how our list looks so far, so let's get into the next tier, into the top 25 now. At 24, I have the Evolution Battle Ram. I've just been seeing a lot more of bridge spam in the meta recently, so I think the Battle Ram deserves to be this high up in the list. It's a little bit higher than it was last season, but overall bridge spam is making a pretty big comeback, so I'm going to have it at the 24 spot. It's a very solid evolution. It gets good value if you use it correctly. You can pretty much destroy your opponent when they're low on elixir. At 23, I have the Evolution Hunter, and this card is really good in Royal Giant, and that's about all it's been good for the last couple of seasons, but this season it's actually been replaced in a lot of Royal Giant decks with the Evolution Furnace because of the Furnace being so strong. And in some cases I've even seen it be replaced with the Spirit Empress. It's still a really solid evolution, it's just being replaced by some other better cards in the meta. So for that reason, I'm going to have it at the number 23 spot. At 22 is the Evolution Ice Spirit, and this card has just been nerfed a couple of times, which has really brought it down in the rankings. First it got that freeze duration nerf, and then it also got the freeze damage nerf. So for that reason, it's a lot lower than it was a couple of seasons ago. It's still a solid card, it's just not its meta. Next up, I have the Evolution Goblin Barrel, and with the meta being so heavily focused on Furnace right now, Logbait has been struggling just a little bit, and I think the Evolution Goblin Barrel getting that nerf, that minus 26% damage nerf to the Decoy Barrel, I think both of those put together have really hurt the Goblin Barrel in the rankings, so that's why I have it so low at number 21. It's an alright evolution. It can still get a lot of value, especially if you play it right, but I don't think it's as strong as it used to be. At number 20, I have the Evo Dark Goblin, and for pretty much the same reasons as the Evolution Goblin Barrel, this card is a lot lower in the rankings than it was last season. Because of the Furnace meta, Logbait isn't being run as much as it used to be, and it also got a nerf to the poison duration, which I can definitely notice when I'm playing. It's still a really solid evolution, you can still definitely get value out of it, but it's definitely not as strong as it was last season. Number 19 is the Evolution Goblin Cage. I think this evolution is really underrated. I've seen it make a little bit of a comeback this season, and it's just really good against Beatdown, against Golem, against Evolution Goblin Giant, against Evolution P.E.K.K.A., which I see a lot more this season. So for that reason, I'm going to have it pretty high, I think higher than most people would have it, at number 19. At the number 18 spot, I have the Evolution P.E.K.K.A., and this Evolution P.E.K.K.A. and Evolution Goblin Giant deck is just everywhere pretty much. It's such a strong deck. I don't think Evolution P.E.K.K.A. is as strong as the Evolution Goblin Giant, but they synergize so well together. So for that reason, I'm going to have the Evo P.E.K.K.A. higher than it was last season at number 18. It also goes so well with the Furnace, and a lot of P.E.K.K.A. bridge spam is making a comeback, so it's going to be higher up than it was last season for those reasons. Here's how our list is looking from spots 35 all the way to spot 18. As we get into the next tier, we're going to be getting into some of the best evolutions in the game. So let's get started. Evolution Tesla will take the number 17 spot. This card is just so solid. It's not as good as the Evolution Cannon, but it's still so good on defense. It's used in a lot of different decks. It can outrange the Furnace, unlike the Cannon, so that is one plus side. And then it's also really good against minions, which there's been a lot of minions this season because of the buff to the minions. So for that reason, I'm going to have it at number 17. It's a really solid evolution. At number 16, I have the Evolution Archers. The Evolution Archers got a little bit of a change last season with their power shot range, minimum range changing, and then also their maximum damage decreasing. So it was a little bit of a nerf, so for that reason I'm moving it down compared to last season, but it's still a really solid card. used mostly in Expo, a little bit in E-Golem, and a couple of off-meta decks. But overall, this card is really strong. At number 15, one of my least favorite evolutions is the Evolution Recruits. This card is so good. It's so matchup dependent. So sometimes I can really struggle with this, sometimes it's pretty easy. But overall, it's just such a great deck. So much better than the regular Recruits. It's so hard to stop both lanes when the opponent's applying so much pressure with like a flying machine down the middle, Royal Hogs down the middle. Just so difficult to stop. It feels like it always gets value. At number 14, I have the Evolution Skeleton Barrel. This is still a really good evolution. I think it's a little bit worse than it was last season, but still really good. Furnace is pretty strong against it because of the Fire Spirits taking out the skeletons and the Furnace taking it out before it gets the death damage. But overall, it deserves to be this high up. It's still really strong if your opponent has no counters. It's really good at making your opponent use a building, so that way you can use wall breakers, or using your wall breakers so your opponent doesn't have their building, so then you can use your Skeleton Barrel. Now at number 13, sadly, I have the Evolution Goblin Giant. And this is a lot higher than I put it last season. Last season, I thought P.E.K.K.A. God Giant was a strong deck, but I didn't think it was too amazing. But this season, I've been seeing so much more P.E.K.K.A. God Giants, and with the Furnace, it's just so strong. And then I've also been seeing a Evolution God Giant Sparky come back, and it's just so annoying to deal with. It's so frustrating. So for that reason, I'm going to have it so much higher than it was last season at the number 13 spot. At number 12, I have Evolution Zap. And Evolution Zap is being used in so many more decks. Lava Hound is making a huge comeback, and I'm seeing a lot of Evolution Zap in Lava Hound. It's been used in a lot of beatdown decks like Bridge Spam, also Prince Giant, and Sparky Gob Giant. So many different decks. It's really versatile. The regular Zap isn't that good, but the Evolution Zap, being able to take out so many units that can only be taken out by arrows, just makes it so strong. So for that reason, I'm having it almost in the top 10, but not quite, at number 12. One spot away from the top 10, at number 11, I have Evolution Royal Giant. And this card is so great with the Evolution Furnace. I've been seeing it used so much. It's also been used a lot with the Spirit Empress, because the Spirit Empress is such a strong card right now. So for that reason, I'm going to have it at number 11. It could honestly be higher. It's really hard to deal with if you don't have the right counters. Into the top 10 now. At number 10, I have Evolution Executioner. This card is just such a defensive menace. It's so good at pushing back Hog Riders, pretty much any troop. It's so strong with Tornado. It's so great on defense. It can pretty much defend any push with the Evo Executioner and a NATO. Not much else to say about it. It's very deserving of the top 10. It gets so much value. At number 9, I have the Evolution Bats, and this card is actually being overshadowed by the regular minions right now because of the range buff the minions got. They're just really strong right now. But don't forget just how strong the Evolution Bats are. So if the regular minions do receive a nerf, which I'm pretty sure they will next season just because of how strong they are, I think the Evolution Bats will go back up as being one of the most used evolutions. It's so good in pretty much any cycle deck, any minor control deck. The Bats being... At number 8, I have the Evolution Cannon, and this card is probably just as strong as it was last season, except for the fact that Furnace can outrange the Cannon. And because Furnace has such a high usage rate right now, it makes it so Cannon's not as effective in the meta right now. So for that reason, I have it lower than it is last season. But it's such a great evolution. It's just not really as good as it once was because of the meta. At number 7, I have the Evolution Valk. I don't have much to say about this card. It's just so good defensively. Being able to pull back cards like Hog Rider, Royal Hogs, pretty much any win condition, you can just pull it straight back away from your tower. Makes it so strong. It gets so much value for just 4 elixir, so it's one of the strongest evolutions in the game. At number 6, I have the Evolution Mortar. And I think a lot of people will disagree with me about the Evolution Mortar being this high, but I've just been facing it so much. I've been seeing a lot of Cannon Cart, Evolution Mortar, a lot of Ice Wizard, Skeleton Barrel, a lot of those types of decks running around. And I think the Evolution Mortar is so strong right now. And I've been seeing it so much, and I still think it's really underutilized by a lot of players right now. So for that reason, I'm going to have it at number 6. Completely okay if you guys disagree with me. I definitely think a lot of people would probably have it around 8 to 15. At number 5, I have the Evolution Knight. And this card is so good. I think it is better than the Evolution Valk. I've been seeing it a lot in different graveyard decks, Goblin Drill decks. And it's really good against the Furnace because when it's not attacking anything, it takes reduced damage. So those Fire Spirits, every time it hits the Knight, it doesn't do full damage, making the Evolution Knight a really strong counter to Evolution Furnace. This is what the list looks like right now. Now we're going to be getting into the top 4 evolutions. At number 4, I have the Evolution Wall Breakers, and I already had this as one of the best evolutions last season. I think they actually got even better because of the Cannoneer Tower being used so much in the meta, and the Cannoneer getting a nerf. So now it takes 2 shots to kill Wall Breakers instead of 1 shot. So for that reason, Evolution Wall Breakers, definitely one of the best 4 evolutions in the game. It's so strong right now. I would definitely recommend using this right now. Into the top 3, I have Evolution Snowball at number 3. This card pairs so well with the Goblin Drill. It's pretty much guaranteed damage. If you use it really well, you could get 500 to 1,000 damage every time you use an Evolution Snowball with the Goblin Drill push. It's just so strong, even with the nerf it got. It's just really hard to deal with. So for that reason, it's definitely deserving of the number 3 spot. At the number 2 spot, I have the Evolution Inferno Dragon, and this card is such a pain to deal with. It's so good. Unless you have any type of reset or zap, it's just so hard to deal with. You have to play so carefully to not let it get on your tower for even just a second, because it will completely wipe out your whole tower. If it wasn't for the evolution ahead of it, this would probably be my number 1 in the game. It's just so strong for 4 elixir. Finally, at the number 1 spot, unless you haven't played this game in a whole week, it should really be no surprise. It's the Evolution Furnace. It completely broke the game when it came out. For those first couple of days, they did nerf the regular Furnace, but the Evolution Furnace is so strong. Spawning a Fire Spirit every time it attacks, it pretty much melts anything your opponent puts in front of it. When it's supporting a push, when it's behind like a tank or going into like a graveyard push, it just gets so much value. It's so hard to deal with. The fact that the Furnace outranges the cannon makes it really tricky. It just completely dominates against log bait, and feels like there's nothing you can really do against it except for play your own Evil Furnace or have a spell like a Fireball Log or a Poison or a Rocket. So for that reason, it will be at the number 1 spot. Alright, that's going to do it for all 35 evolutions in the game right now, all the way up to August 2025. Let me know if you think there should be any evolutions that should be higher or ranked lower on the list. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more rankings and more top ladder gameplay.